So, as you scale with the plugins, the huge problem of support
Yeah.
is definitely there. So for a WordPress company, how do you handle the support?
So I definitely learned a lot of things over the couple of years doing plugin business. One thing is so working at the startup at Kinsta, just me, my brother and I, we don't want to grow big. We don't want to be a huge company. We don't want to be a startup having to hustle. Like I've seen all the problems that come with that. Like eventually you have to hire an HR department and all that stuff that comes with being that big. And then Slack gets bigger, gets noisier. You probably use Slack, I'm sure, and just how it goes. It just gets so distracting. It's just ridiculous. And then you have to figure out like which channels should you mute, and like it's just bonkers. And so there's a couple of strategies we've used to keep it under control, I guess you could say, because we don't want to grow fast, which is weird. Some people do want to grow fast. We don't want to grow fast. We want to grow slow. We want to see growth for sure, but we don't want to grow fast. So one thing we do is we'll never have lifetime deals for our plugins. Couple of things, I don't like lifetime deals to begin with because I don't think they support developers, and I have no problems paying subscription or yearly fees to the plugins that I'm using from other people because I want to help support them so the plugin gets better and that they fix all the problems with it. So with lifetime deals, you really have to structure it. You can do it, but you have to structure it as like, figuring out your customer lifetime value and like charging like $800 or something to make sure you don't.
Quality will obviously go down in the long term if you're charging.
Yeah, it's not a sustainable business model and not a good one in my opinion. And it doesn't help developers. But the other reason we don't do it is because we don't want an influx of like 10,000 clients overnight. And when you do, most people do the lifetime deals to get an influx of cash to do something. And we don't want the influx of cash, which I know sounds weird, but with the influx of cash comes the influx of support tickets. So that's another reason why we don't do lifetime deals. And when anyone asks us about that, I tell them there's two reasons. Like it's not a sustainable business model. I have no problem paying developers for plugins. So I think, people should do the same. And then we don't want to grow too big, too fast. So that's one way to like keep your support tickets down. Like just don't do lifetime deals. And I know some people might think that's controversial because there's a lot of that in the WordPress space. And I'm not against them either. If I see a lifetime deal, like I think GeneratePress did one, like, and obviously I picked that up. It's a no-brainer if they're offering it. Like I'm a consumer too, so like I grabbed it because it's a no-brainer. So, but again, like they're ones that if they had never launched it, I would have been completely fine paying GeneratePress for years because I use them for everything. And so, yeah, so that's about that. Another thing I think is focusing on your documentation. So this comes back to the content. So something strategy here is killing kind of two birds with one stone is for NovaShare, taking it from like the 0 to 65 domain authority. We don't have a blog on the NovaShare site. We don't have a blog. All we have is docs. So we took it from 0 to 65 domain authority, all just using docs. So people underestimate, like you can write docs to kind of for the user to fix the problems with your plugin, but you can also write them thinking of like, what if someone sees this, just searching for how to do it with your plugin or something like. And so sometimes it might not look as nice, like on our docs, we don't have comments like on a blog post at the bottom, which speaking of comments can help SEO. If you have a blog, take time to do the comments, moderate them, of course, but take time and they can help your SEO. But like for our docs, we don't have SEO, we don't have comments, we don't really have social sharing buttons on our docs either. So, that's, I would say, downfalls to that approach. But if you don't have time, which we don't actually have time to do a blog on each plugin site and do the docs, we just don't have the time. So we focus on like really good content for the docs. So that's one approach. And the other benefit of that is it obviously helps with support tickets. Every single one of our features, every single toggle in the plugin has a tooltip, every single one that links to the doc, to the section in the doc of how to do things. And it's kind of OCD and maybe over obsessive, but every single thing has step 1, 2, 3, 4 of like, go to plugin settings, click on this tab, go to this place. And they all have arrows. So like very meticulous in the steps for every doc. The nice thing about that is if you're meticulous, it adds to your word count automatically for the doc. So
Absolutely.
you automatically get longer docs, which
And
is
I think it's very much to do with, you know, we being very precise in the sense that it should help the user. That's the
exactly.
intention, I think.
Yep. And then so that creates obviously less tickets because most people can, if you have good docs, most people can figure out the problem on their own if you have really good, concise, you know, ways to figure out the issues. And another way to write good content is take your support tickets and add to your content for what you see is not already in there. So I constantly update docs from like things we've solved in support tickets. I see like, oh, that's okay. That's another thing I don't have about that feature. So and I go back and add it to the doc. So it's like a never-ending cycle of support tickets to improving your content back and forth.
What tool do you guys use for the support?
So this, some people might laugh at, but it works really well for two people. We use a shared Gmail inbox.
Really?
Oh, we have Google. We do have a Google Workspace license, you know, like for the more storage and unlimited stuff. But we have a shared Gmail inbox, and we have our OCD with the labels, like color labels. And what we do is with our contact form, we use Ninja Forms on our site. I've also been looking at Fluent Forms if somebody wants other ones. I'm actually kind of a fan of them lately. And every dropdown, basically, if you pick like, you know, a feature request or, you know, support ticket or whatever you pick, it routes it. And with Gmail rules, it automatically tags it with the colored label. So whenever we sit down to our Gmail inbox every morning, most of them are already tagged for us, ready to go. So we know exactly when we click into it, it's like, okay, this is a feature request or this is a,
Okay.
so, and the way you do that is like Ninja Forms has different ways you can route things with the subject line. You can change the subject line based on what people pick from a dropdown, and then do a rule based on what's in the subject. So
the workflow, right?
Yeah, kind of building a workflow with your contact form to Gmail with the labels. And again, once you get a bigger team, that doesn't work anymore, obviously, but works really well for like really small teams.